Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Easy Does It, a podcast created specifically for the amazing members of the MJ team. Rob and I are excited to be back with you for another great episode. Today, our topic is feeling overwhelmed. And as I have done for the past 3 episodes, I'm pretty sure, I'm going to start with a statistic.
Okay.
But then we're going to get to your best ever would you rather.
Yep.
A 2022 survey found that 52% of people report feeling overwhelmed at least once a week.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. So if you're listening, raise your hand if you're in that 52%. Yep. Me. Maybe not every week or once a week, but maybe.
It could.
It depends on what's going on. So anyway, we're going to talk about where does this feeling of overwhelm come from? What are some signs and symptoms? And of course, what can we do about it?
Yep.
But before all of that, please tell me this. Would you rather?
Okay. Would you rather for the week? I have, so the past probably 5 podcasts, maybe a little bit more, ChatGPT's been helping me with this. It is really interesting to go on there. It could be overwhelming to go on there and ask it questions. And a lot of times it'll give you suggestions. But sometimes would you rather it gets a little squirrely with some.
Oh.
But today I said, give me the best would you rathers on the face of the planet.
Oh.
And this is one of them that I came up with.
I can't wait.
Would you rather live in a world where colors make sound or where sounds have flavor? Bam!
What? Okay, let me recap.
I'll do it again. Would you rather live in a world where colors make sound
Colors make sound.
or where sounds have flavor?
I think I'm going to go with sounds have flavor.
I like that one.
Well, first, I love to eat.
I know. I wrote this down a little while ago, and I said, I know which one she's going to pick. I just know.
Yeah, I love to eat. And so, I mean, depending on what the flavor, it kind of makes me think of the smelly markers that we use in class.
Yeah.
Like, colors make? No, sounds have flavor.
Sounds have flavor.
So, like, if the horn beeped, merk, merk.
Oh, I'm sure that would sound like an explosion for you.
Yeah, I don't know
Somebody
what
honks
that
the
would.
horn at you.
I don't know what that, but as long as it was not like black licorice or something.
Man, what sound would have that flavor?
Maybe the horn honking.
The horn.
Because
horn would
as
be.
we covered in last episode, that's a trigger. That's triggering for me.
Man, what if like the negative sounds had pleasant flavors? That would be really interesting.
Oh, I bet it would be. I bet it would change our mind thing.
Yeah.
It would be like Pavlov's dogs. You know, like when you hear the bell, you get a piece of, and so the bell equals food. Ooh,
That's really
we
interesting.
should run that experiment.
Yeah, we should.
Wait, what was the first one?
The first one is,
Colors.
would you rather live in a world where colors make sound? So like purple, what would that sound like?
No, I don't. I like things to be quiet.
Purple sounds like crickets. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think I would like a lot of sounds. But flavors,
Down with that.
bring it on.
I think that would be so cool. You hear a sound and then all of a sudden you smell it. I think about 2 things come to mind with that. Number one, Harry Potter, when they have the, is it Laffy Taffy? Something like that. And it has like different flavors. No, it's the jelly beans.
Birdie
It's the
Bots.
jelly beans. Yes. Wow. That's really impressive.
Yep.
That's impressive. But I just remember he got earwax
Yep.
and then the hot one where steam shoots out of his ears. But then I think about when you go to the movie theaters that are interactive. Have you been to any of those where the chairs moves a little bit in the theater, but then they also emit sound or smells?
Oh,
So like you would be in like an ocean scene and the spray of the ocean would come up, but it would just be like mist and you'd feel it in the room. Comes out of the seats, I guess. And then they have ones where like maybe you're flying and it has little fans behind you and it blows one
feel
on
it.
it. But they do smells too. So if there's like a burning car, there's like a smoky smell.
ooh,
It's full interaction. I don't know if that's 40. Is that 40?
I have no idea.
I'm going to go with it. 40.
Huh. I wonder would our voices count as sounds?
Yes.
I wonder when people listen to the podcast, what flavor would my voice be?
You guys hit us up. Please tell us. That would be interesting.
It would.
Look at us. This one's not overwhelming. This one's interesting. I like that.
It
You say
was.
birdie bots?
Birdie Bots.
Birdie bots. Okay.
Oh, is it surprising to anyone that I was a Harry Potter nerd?
No, but I don't know if they knew that. They do now.
Oh, they do now. Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Read all the books multiple times. Watched all the
Which one was your favorite? Have we been through this? I don't know that we talked about this.
No, 4, Goblet of Fire.
Yes, that's the one.
Yep.
I love that one.
They do the competition, go in the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they could make its own series just on the what is it? The Wizard. What was that one called? Not the Wizard Games. What did they call that one?
Oh, the
Tri-Wizard Tournament.
Yeah.
They need to make a whole series on that.
Yep.
JK, you need to tell us. Oh, Miss Rowling, hit us up.
That's right.
All right, what are we talking about today? Being overwhelmed?
Yes. We are talking about. Before that, can I also.
Do you have another stat?
No, but I did want to shout out once again the marketing gurus, the marketing team for continuing to outfit our amazing studio. Check out our site.
I know, it's so nice.
We're so official.
It looks good.
I know. Okay, so thank you, marketing. We just keep leveling up in here. Okay, so yes, today we're talking about overwhelm. And I think maybe kind of ties a little bit to our last episode, which was kind of on anger and forgiveness. I think sometimes a lot of these things can be tied to one another. So I'm going to start off with a definition. I haven't done this in a while.
Okay.
I got inspired today. So the definition that I found of overwhelm is to be buried or drown beneath a huge mass. So your face is kind of like, I was like, well, daggone, no wonder people feel a certain way when they feel overwhelmed, when you feel like you are buried or drowning beneath something huge. And I did write here that the thing could be either stuff like tasks, or it could also be feelings.
Yeah.
Like we can be overwhelmed with grief. We can be overwhelmed with guilt. We could be overwhelmed with shame, or, so it's not necessarily tasks. Although I think that's the place I find myself in a lot, is being overwhelmed with tasks, but you could also be overwhelmed with feelings. So I thought that was interesting, that the definition in and of itself makes you feel like, oof, being buried or drowning, and which very much sums up what it feels like to be overwhelmed.
Yeah, I didn't really think about the definition being like that. It's very like it just paints an image in your head, maybe a smell, but you can just see it and you can feel that.
Yep.
And I was thinking it was really interesting that we talked about this week, because we just came off of like a crazy hot spell out there. Like all of you guys out there running calls nonstop, like it's been blazing hot out there on all fronts, and it can be easy to add that on, or that create the sense of being overwhelmed. I mean, I remember back to being a tech, and summertime hits and we get that like 2-week just like full on run. And so you're running call after call after call. You're taking an extra call. You're coming home late. You're getting up early. You're rolling. And, you have that 2-week span where it's like, this is the time to get after it. And then anything on top of that, you have to take the kids certain places, or you have functions in the evening time, or
just like every day, you got to mow the yard. You got to it just
gets piled on.
Yeah.
And so being able to manage through that is challenging. But there's some stuff that old Mel Robbins talked about that I found. I don't know if you found her too, but she has some really, really good strategies on how to handle and manage those things. And she says there's 2 different types of overwhelmed. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But so in some of the studies that I saw, they were talking about stress and anxiety, like the differences between those two, and then being overwhelmed ties into all that. So the definitions that I came across, it says stress is the physical or mental response to an external cause, which is pretty common. I think we see that. But then anxiety is our body's reaction to stress, and can occur even when there is no current threat. So I think the physical stress of like I have some external force that's causing me to feel this stress. Something is there, something is present, and a lot of times it's tangible. I can touch it and feel it. The anxiety piece doesn't always have to be external. It can just be internal. And this made me think some similarities to what we've talked about in the past is that you can have 2 people see the same scenario, situation, or be in it, and they handle it and feel differently about it. And then it goes back into what we talked about last time with you mad, bro, and that it's not that I get mad. I allow people to get me mad or whatever whatever it was. They're not making me mad. I'm making me mad.
Yeah.
So it's how we interpret those situations. The good part about that is if I have anxiety about something, I'm the one that's creating it, and I too can change it. But I've got to be able to do something about it. Like I need tools to be able to manage that.
Yeah, that's the very next thing that I wrote was, why do people feel overwhelmed? And I think it kind of goes back to this internal piece, what you're talking about. I think I got this, I'm not sure where, but demands placed on people that exceed their perceived ability to cope or to manage. So we have demands placed on us, and we begin to feel overwhelmed or anxious when our perception is we can't accomplish them all, or we can't manage them all, or we can't navigate them all. So I think a big part of this, which, we'll talk about some actual physical steps that you can take to help with overwhelm. But I think one of the things we also have to do is think about how are we internalizing what we can and cannot cope with, or what we can and cannot navigate. So it's our perception of how capable am I in this moment to navigate all of these things. And when we feel incapable, then we start to, it kind of piles on. The anxiousness piles on, the overwhelm piles on. And so it goes back to, I know I've talked and used the word, your agency. I think if you have navigate, when I feel overwhelmed, I feel fairly confident that if I can sit down, get myself together, which that's one of the things that I put on my list is like, take some time to get yourself together. When I can do that, I feel pretty confident in my ability to cope and manage and navigate through. Why do I feel that way? Because I've done it before. I have previous experiences that prove to me I can navigate it. So I think if you don't have those previous experiences, then there's a higher chance, that you kind of get wrapped up in the, I can't do this. It's not enough time. I won't be able to accomplish. But once you can prove to yourself, I can do it, one thing at a time, then I think you build your own agency to be able to kind of rise to the occasion when it happens again.
What do you feel like stresses you out the most?
I think I've said this on here before. One of the things that I think is a strength of mine, but then also can be a weakness, is I take things that I'm responsible for, I take full responsibility for them. So, I am responsible for, let's just start with my children. I'm responsible in a lot of ways for my family. And when I say responsible, I mean all the way down from picking you up from swim to going to the grocery store to, there's a responsibility there to make sure that everybody got everything, need everything, and we're all good. I have the responsibility here to the people that I serve in my role. And so I feel a lot of responsibility to get things accomplished, to bring things to people that are worthwhile. And so I think my biggest stressor is fulfilling all of my responsibilities, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And so at what point does stress for you become overwhelmed?
I have a perfect example. So I was on vacation, not last week, but the week before. And when I came back on Monday, there's already kind of a transition when you come back on Monday. I was ready to come back to work because I like structure and I like that kind of, but when I got back, there was something happening every day for long periods of time. It was almost like I'd never had that moment when I initially came back to get myself together.
Right.
And so
I remember those days when you come back and you're like,
I just need to sit down for a second and make a list. So eventually, towards the end of last week, I had the opportunity to do that. Up until then, I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed because it felt like there were loose ends. It felt like I knew in my mind I had follow-up items to take care of in a lot of different areas, like next steps types of things. And I didn't ever have the time to sit down and really think about and map out, okay, here's what I have going on. Here are my next steps in all of those areas. I didn't get to do that until the end of last week. So up until I had that opportunity, I was feeling overwhelmed because everything was just living in my head. I was trying to be present in the moment and contribute because I was in meetings and I was in plannings and I was in different things. So I'm trying to be present in the moment and contribute. At the same time, all of that other stuff is living back here. Like, when you gonna do me? I need to be done too. Send an email, schedule an invite. I mean, there's just stuff back there that needed to be done.
Yeah.
And so once I sat down and I said, okay, here are my irons in the fire. Like, that's what the projects that I have going on right now. What are my next steps? 1 or 2 bullet points for each one of those that I can take care of. It could be that it might take me hours to check it off the list or minutes. But then at least I see, how do I need to prioritize these? What can be done like this so I can check it off my list, get it out of my brain.
Yeah.
So I think that's for me the last time that I was feeling overwhelmed, and that's my go-to strategy for how to get myself out of it. It's not that all those things are, that list is still sitting there on my desk. And I have done a few of those items, but they're not up here anymore.
Yeah.
They're not swirling in the back of my mind when I'm trying to focus on something else.
Yeah. It's amazing just getting stuff out of your head on a piece of paper, how much it can take off your plate, or at least you're talking about the perceived ability to be able to do something, but it just takes that off of your shoulders so that perceived exertion of what you have to remember, it's not as great. It's always funny. Susie and I, when it comes to grocery shopping, she does the grocery shopping. And Lord, if I was in there, it would be bad. It'd be really bad. Buy too much, especially the stuff we don't need. Sometimes I remember the brands of things. I'm like, I can't find it. This is pretty good. And I walk out. It's not good. So I've been banned from that. But it's always funny, our interactions. Do you need anything from the store? And I'm like, yeah. She always calls them my precious eggs. I like to have eggs for breakfast any days that I'm off. And if I'm not working out in the morning, I'll wake up early and I'll make myself 3 eggs. So I got to have eggs. If I don't have eggs, the world falls apart. It's not good. So she's like, I know you got to get your precious eggs. What else can I get for you? I'm like, if you can give me some yogurt, the essentials. And she's like, cool. Then we'll come back and it'll be, lunch dinner, or it'll be some other dinner. And she's like, oh, I forgot spaghetti sauce. Can you go by the store and get it on your way home? And I'm like, sure. And I'm like, didn't you just go to the store? And she's like, I forgot. Okay. And then the next time, grocery list. She will remember the spaghetti sauce, but then the next time it'll be, oh, I forgot your eggs. I saw the carton in there. I'm like, there was one left. You could shake it. She's like, I saw it, but I just didn't touch it. I'm like, I'm not mad. It's fine. I'll go get my precious eggs. It's fine. And it's funny because I'm always like, just make a list. Just make a list. Or we can do a list and we can write, once you use it, you write it on the list. She's like, no, I got it up here. And I'm like, she remembers a lot of things and is really good at that. But the thing that I always give her a hard time about is that every grocery visit, you forget one thing on the list. And it's just funny because then it's just a joke. She comes back and I'm like, okay, we're good. And then I'm like, I'm waiting for the day. It's like, oh, I forgot this. I'm like, if you would have just made a list, she goes, I don't need a list. And I'm like, okay.
That's so funny. I would never go to the grocery store without a list.
My mom always goes with a list. The times that I've gone, I forget so much. So it's like, I have to have a list. And she remembers 99.9% of things. And there's just always one random item that she looks in the fridge. She's like, we got jelly. And it'll be the top of the lid. And you can see it's like clear. So stuff's gone. But it'll be like, the kids like to leave like half a spoon in the bottom. Or they'll put an empty bag back in the fridge. And I'll go in there and I'm like, what is this? Who done it? Who done it? Oh, it was me. And I'm like, why did you put the trash back in there? I don't know. It's B-Jack. But, when it comes to the day-to-day, if you carry that weight in your mind and you just walk around with that, your perceived exertion, that perceived ability to manage the stress is just so much higher.
Yeah.
And it's amazing what just writing things down, just get them. I mean, I know in the teaching world called the brain dump, but put it all on a piece of paper big, small, anything you're carrying with you, put it down. And then Mel talked to Mel Robbins. She talked a lot about prioritizing the list and just going through and just saying, here's the things. I think you said irons in the fire. But she's like, all these little things that you have, write them all down, prioritize what's most important. And then my favorite part that she said with that is sometimes you can prioritize, well, you need to prioritize what's most important. But she says sometimes you might have many things that are important. And she says, just pick 3. The rest can wait. It will be there for you. It will wait. But if you just pick 3 and you can accomplish those 3 things, and that's 3 less things that are on your list that you don't have to worry about anymore. And it starts to remove things off your plate. But she's like, you just have to pick 3. I think she called it the rule of 3, but it's just like, just pick 3, knock these 3 things out. Everything else must wait, and don't burden yourself with the extra stuff because it will be there, but you don't have to carry that weight. Because if you just know the next day, I just got to do 3 more things. That's all I got to do. I don't have to do 100.
Yeah, I think that I wrote down too, one of the things I read about, which we know is helpful in our own motivation, is focusing on the small wins. So it's like, if I can just get these 3 things done today or whatever, then I think when you get those small wins, like, yep, check it off, get rid of this, get rid of that, then anytime we see that we're making progress, we want to keep making progress. And I also too believe, an object in motion remains in motion. So once you get yourself going and you start checking things off the list and you're like, okay, all right, got that done. Let me do this. Let me do that. There's some like snowball effect to that when you can get yourself some momentum. I think sometimes what happens is when we're feeling overwhelmed, I actually I read about the loop of overwhelm. So we feel overwhelmed. So then we avoid tasks because we're either, I wrote this down too, we suffer from paralysis, not actual paralysis, but like mental paralysis. There's so many things to do, I'm doing nothing. So we avoid tasks because we're kind of paralyzed with where to start, what to do. This is too much. I don't have time. Whatever the case may be, we avoid them, which then adds more stress. And then that makes us feel even more overwhelmed.
Right.
So we feel overwhelmed. We avoid the tasks. That adds more stress. And then we feel even more overwhelmed. And then that's the guilt and the shame we feel for not making any progress just makes the whole cycle worse. And so we just kind of find ourselves no different than how we talked about with anger. We find ourselves just kind of living in the blech. It's just we're living in this space of always feeling like we're not enough and we're not doing enough and we can't keep up. And that's a sucky place to be, especially if you're feeling that way all the time. So I think they talked about breaking the cycle, this loop of overwhelm. So the first thing is name it. I think you said that last week with the anger piece. I'm overwhelmed. I have had to really practice looking at Michael and saying, I am feeling overwhelmed right now. I have lots of tabs open. I either need to brain dump this out. I need to ask you to take over some of these tasks. I am feeling overwhelmed. So the first thing you need to do is name it. The second thing, prioritize. Exactly like what you were just saying, what's important. The third thing, simplify. That kind of also, too, you were saying this to some extent, is take your list or whatever it is that you're looking at, what can be paused, what can be delegated, and what can be dropped. So is there something that can be paused right now because it's not urgent? Is there something that can be delegated? I have a hard time doing that too. Number one, because I don't want to ask for help. And number two, because I feel like I could do it better than anyone else. But I'm putting that constraint on myself. So if I want to feel less overwhelmed, I've got to start trusting other people to do other things. So can I pause it? Can I delegate it? Or quite honestly, can it be dropped? What things can I drop from my mental load that really don't have that much of an impact? Or that just aren't important in the scheme of things. So that's, they name it, prioritize it, simplify it, and then reset our expectations. Good enough is sometimes the best way to just approach it.
I love that. I love that.
because I also wrote down some where might some of this overwhelm come from. And of course, one of the things is perfectionism or really high expectations.
Yep.
So if I combine, see all these forces coming together, my perfectionism over here, my overwhelm over here, and let's see how all of these things start acting with each other. So if I'm feeling my perfectionist tendencies with the high expectations, it's hard for me to say this is good enough.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
I mean, all the things that we've learned from what, 6 to 13 or something like that. Like those are our transformative years. And so it's like you've learned all these best practices, but we've learned that from our parents. We've learned what our values are. Those really solidify for us what we believe in. Like all those things are our trajectory point, or we're leading from, or taking off point. It sets our trajectory. And so, but we've also learned things that may serve us, but may, if they go too far, can be a problem. I thought it was interesting. It was talking about our values, and it says our values, they can be advantageous for us, but they can also not be advantageous if they go too far. So if you even go back to like, I have things that I use that help me manage and mitigate being overwhelmed and stress. If you go too far with it, it can be bad. So it says thoughtfulness, which is a great value and practice to have. And it's so nice when people are thoughtful and they come lay a note on your desk and like, dude, I believe in you and all this stuff. Thoughtfulness taken too far can become overthinking. And then that can become a problem, and it can create overwhelm. So being aware that this is a value that I have, or a talent that I have, or maybe it's a skill, depends on which one it is. But if I take it too far, it can be a problem. Another one they talked about was self-reliance. I don't need people, and I can do things can turn into micromanaging other people when things aren't going so well. It can be a problem. Another one was having high standards. It's got to be up here. And so that can lead into perfectionism. And then it becomes a whole thing. The last one that I came across, which was cool, was being resourceful, being able to find the answer and finding people or materials to be able to solve the problem. That can come to leading to unnecessary choices. You're resourceful, so you find things to make things work, but then the choices become too complicated. You can bring too much into it. So that's another aspect of being overwhelmed, is you might be leading out of these places that were a skill or a talent for you that was good, and it took it too far. I know I've told you this before, and we might have talked about it on here, but I always find myself, I wrote it down, circling the runway. If I need to get things done and I feel that sense of overwhelm, or I see myself getting to that spot, then I tend to circle my calendar. And I'm like, okay, I need to get these things down. I don't think I have it in here. This is actually my weekly notebook that I carry around, and this has all my stuff in it. And then I have my like calendar in here in my Ivy Lee list. So I wrote it this morning. I had 9 things. I know I was supposed to write it the night before, but it's good enough management of myself. I wrote it down, and then I'm like, crap, I have 9 things on my list. I'm supposed to have 6, no more than 6. And I'm like, wow. But I went back to like prioritizing, like, what things can I just bust off this list real quick that'll take 5 minutes? And that's another strategy, is are there things that take 5 minutes? And are there things that are like time sensitive? And I think you have to sift through those. If I take 3 things that take 5 minutes off my list and it only takes me 15 minutes, then I can go to the things that are more time sensitive. They're like, I got to get this done, or are very important. So it's like there's good strategies that are there. But I find myself circling. I'll circle my calendar. Okay, I got to get this done. I got to get this done. Do I have enough time for that? I'm not sure. And I'll go back through my list, and I'm like, all right, cool. So I just need to start on this now. Did I do it well enough? Let me go back and look. And then I'll go back and look at my list, and I might sit there for 30, 45 minutes. I'm like, all right, I did that. Let me just see. I'm supposed to work on this priority. Let me just take a look. I haven't looked at it in a few hours, or I haven't looked at it in a day. And then I'm like, dang, this is going to take a lot more time. Let me redo this list. And then I'll move it. And then I'm like, all right, cool. I got it. I haven't looked at that one yet. And I look at it, I'm like, that's going to take way longer than I think. It is important. That one's going to take 5 minutes. And then I'll start, and then somebody walks in my office, and then it's all over. And then I'm like, oh, I get done talking to him. I'm like, I need to go back to my list. That one, I haven't looked at it yet. And it's just this cycle. And I'm like, what am I doing? So it can create a lot of problems. So I have the awareness of it now. I still catch myself doing it, which is just, we're all human, but I have to like just take action on something. There's so many great strategists out there and good mentors out there, but they're like, just take massive action, just accomplish something. You will feel so much better if you just check one thing off the list. And the comment that you made earlier about objects in motion stay in motion. If I can do one task, I've accomplished one thing that I hadn't earlier, and that's momentum. And Mel Robbins has $1 million morning routine. Y'all, we are working out of a live warehouse out here. So if you hear things in the background,
people are learning how to plumb.
Yeah, it'd be cool if our podcast had its own studio, but we're sharing with the plumbing building, and they're learning right now. So bear with us. But she talks about the $1 million morning routine. Have you heard about this?
No.
Oh yeah. She says it only takes like 20 minutes. And those are my service system nuts out there, which there's a couple of you. This kind of talks about the 5-5-20, but she says wake up on time. So one accomplishment in the day, if you just wake up on time and get up when your alarm goes off, that is an accomplishment. 2 was make your bed. So if you wake up, when you wake up, hopefully you wake up. If you wake up, make your bed right off the bat. That's number 2 accomplishment that you just made for the day. Number 3 is in her high five book. She says, high five the mirror. There's a lot of psychology with high fiving. The training team read that one. Shout out training team. And then, she says, go do something physical. So she says, go put your workout clothes on and go get a workout in. So she says, just go work out. If it's 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever it is. And then she says, go outside and get some light, like put some light on your skin. I know for a lot of us, I mean, my techs, plumbers, electricians, everybody out there in the field, you in the light all day long. So you probably ain't got to worry about it so much. But if you're one like myself, that a lot of my days I'm spending in the office, I don't even have a window. So it's like, if I want to see the sunlight, I got to walk down the hall, around the corner, somewhere near the printer over there to get sunlight. And I'm just like looking out the window. I'm like, oh, it must be so nice. And then I walk outside this past week to go out to my car. I'm like, I look like the scene from Terminator, like the ladies like melting on the fence. Like it's so hot outside. But like just doing those things in the morning, making it a point to do something, those boxes get checked. It moves you in the right direction. Whereas if you think, if I didn't make my bed, I woke up late, I didn't high five myself in the mirror, I didn't work out, and I didn't get any light, I just got in my car. Those of you that are working the morning shift, you wake up at 6, you drive in, it's dark, you get here, you work all day, you leave at the end of the day, maybe it's starting to get dark again. It's just like, and if you're already overwhelmed, it just adds to that. So if you move things in the right direction, you've accomplished 4 or 5 things in the day right off the bat, and you start moving in the right direction.
I think that too, it goes back to the perception, right? It's like my perception of my day so far is that I'm already accomplished. If you do those things in the morning, I've already, the perception of how my day is moving along is like, I have a sense of accomplishment. I've already done some things. And so I think that really goes back to just the mindset of it all. And I read too, this is from Jen Sincero. She wrote, "You Are a Badass." She called them illusions, 3 common illusions to regain control of your time and energy. Basically, she was like, say, stop doing this. Stop talking about how there's never enough time. Because the truth of the matter is we can always find time if we want to or we have to. Because if you think about it, there's things that happen. All of us have had a situation where we were busy and we had other things going on and something else happened and we made the time. We figured it out. We put things on hold. We redelegated something to someone else. You know, like if I get a call right now that I have to go home because something happened with one of the girls or my parents or whatever.
You find time.
That's right. I whatever I had going on today will have to be delegated, dropped, something, because I'm going to find the time that I didn't have 5 minutes ago. I'm now going to find the time to go take care of them. So instead of telling ourselves and kind of, just really digging in on this perception of there's not enough time. I don't have enough time. Stop saying that, because we can make time and we can find time. And the more times you hear yourself say that, well, of course, what are you going to be thinking? Your brain's always going to have this perception that there's never enough time.
Yeah.
So if we stop saying those things, and then we stop kind of reiterating to ourselves.
We stop believing it.
Right. Because you're like, if it's important, then I'll find time. Another thing.
What's funny with that is you'll believe your own bull crap, but you don't believe others. Somebody's like, I don't have time. And you're like, bull crap. But you'll say it to yourself. You're like, I don't have any time for this. And somebody's like, it's so true.
Yeah. That's another thing she said too. Too much to do. Stop saying how busy you are. Focus on the time you do have. Focus on what needs to be done now. Tackle the important things first. Delegate or reschedule the other things. But stop saying you're too busy, because we just keep confirming the same message in our head. I mean, I can't tell you how many people, like, if when people come over, I've just been so busy, I haven't been able to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
In the time it took you to come over here and tell me you've been so busy to do this, you could have done it.
Yeah.
Like, that's how straightforward. And so I really do think a lot of it is like these stories that we're telling ourselves, or these messages that we're sending ourselves, is just we keep saying there's not enough time.
Yeah.
I'm too busy. And so we start believing that. So no matter what people are asking of us or what responsibilities we have, it always feels like there's never enough time.
Yeah.
Or we're too busy. Do I think people are busy? 1,000% do I think people are busy. Do I think that it's hard to squeeze all the hours out of the day? Yeah. But like, if it's important to me to be here for my girls, then I need to go out and walk for 30 minutes in the afternoon, no matter if it's 9,000 degrees outside or if I really don't want to.
Yeah.
I find the time to do that because it's important.
Yep.
Doesn't mean I'm not busy. It just means that I've prioritized that task.
Yeah.
So I think really thinking about what messages are you sending yourself about your time and about how you're spending your time.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the movie theory?
No.
They say if you were watching yourself live as a movie, what would you be screaming to the mirror or screaming to the screen right now? Mm-hmm. Like, what would you change immediately right now? There are so many things that it's just like, just do it. Mm-hmm. Or, I mean, go back to our podcast, do something, right? Yeah. If you can go back, and I've done this so many times, like just talking to people, I'm like, if you can go back and you say 5 years ago, what advice would you give yourself? And if you could do that now and say, my future self came back in time and said something to me today about being overwhelmed, what would they say? It could just be, it's not like, this is small fry stuff.
Right.
Like, this isn't a big deal. Or you're going to get through this. Maybe it's, hey, here's the 3 things that matter most right now. The rest doesn't. And in 5 years, you're not going to remember all these things. I don't even remember all these things that you're dealing with right now. They're not that big of a deal, but we can create bigger deals out of these things than they really actually are. And if you really wrote the things down, which is, I mean, we see it often through a lot of these strategies of it's being angry or being overwhelmed or distractions, like writing things down and prioritizing. If you wrote them down, it's like, what are the things that you have to get done today? Mm-hmm. I've got to take the kids to practice. Well, I understand that could be overwhelming, but is it really that big a deal? Mm-hmm. I just got to take the kids to practice. Not that bad. What do I need to do? I need to clean, fill in the blank. The kids have a birthday party this weekend. Oh, are you putting it on, or is it you're just dropping them off? Mm-hmm. Or
we've got to get a gift. Or yeah.
So there's a lot of times it's little tasks that they require a little bit of effort and time, but they're not like huge problems. Mm-hmm. Like having a health problem, that's a big problem. There was a monk. He said something one time, and it stuck with me because it is so true. And this is something they can add to anybody's bucket of being overwhelmed. He says, when you're healthy, you have many goals. When you're sick, you have one goal. Mm. So I understand some of these things. It's easy for us to say, I got to drop my kids off at school. I got to go pick up a birthday present. Those are small fry stuff. Mm-hmm. When you're sick, the only thing you want to do is get healthy again. And so those are big problems. And it's like, all right, here's the things that I need to do to move forward and get my health back. Then everything else don't seem such a big deal.
Right.
Or those things can add to it. So it's like you have to look at how you perceive those things. So I really like the idea of writing things down and prioritizing. That helps. Mel Robbins, she my girl, like your Brene Brown.
That's right.
I'm going to let them two fight. They'd probably be real good friends. They probably are friends. She says there's two types of overwhelm. She says one is legitimate overwhelm. So she said this is life has created a circumstance for you and it's overwhelming you. And so we talked about stress and anxiety, and those two things are different, but they can pair together. But she says life has created something for you. Maybe there was a death. Mel said that she has some legitimate life overwhelms at the time she recorded that talk. And she says, like, I have to speak at a friend of mine's funeral. She died unexpectedly, and she's speaking as the eulogist. I guess she has to pop up there and do that. It's a legitimate overwhelm.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm going to be a mess. And just other moments in life, like something popped up physically, externally that I can't control. That's legitimate overwhelm that's in my life. And there are some things that it's just a period of your life. It's a season, as they would say, and I can't do a lot about it, but I can work through it. Mm-hmm. The second kind, which is I think what we add in, is lifestyle overwhelm. And she says, this is overwhelm created by your choices or lack thereof. So there are best practices, but there are also worst practices that create more overwhelm. So they say, like, when you're overwhelmed, you're like, I just need to get out of this for a little bit. So you go turn to drinking. I'm going to have a couple of drinks. That adds more physical stress to your body. Mm-hmm. You feel like crap the next morning and you're more overwhelmed.
Yep.
They said the common stuff was like drinking, smoking, overeating. You go and overeat and you eat a bunch of food and it feels good for all of 10, 15 minutes. And then you're like, I've engorged myself. Now I feel like crap. You
Now
feel
I
even
can't do
worse. Yeah.
And you don't feel like doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you do that for enough period of time. Then you look at yourself in the mirror and you're just like, what have I done? Mm-hmm. What's happened? It's gone on for 6 months. And then you're like, I got more on my plate. I gotta cut this back off.
Yep.
So it's like there's things that we can do in our life that create overwhelm for us. Maybe it is the procrastination piece or not having the tools. But it's choices that we choose to make or choices that we choose not to make that can create overwhelm for us. And those are very direct things that we can't control. Death in the family, can't control that. It creates overwhelm, but I don't need to add extra overwhelm to my circumstances.
By the choices.
Yep.
Yeah, that kind of goes into, I made a list of where might it come from. And like, I think if I'm looking at what you're saying, it's like too many responsibilities. That's number one on my list. And that's a choice. It's, if I'm saying yes to this, then I'm saying, no to something else.
Yeah.
But in my case, usually it's just yes to everything. So I am the one who is responsible for saying yes and no to what I can take on. So that to me is a choice that I've made. If I've taken on too many responsibilities, that's on me. Mm-hmm. I need to do a better job of saying no because I've overcommitted myself now, yep. which can lead to or contribute to that feeling of overwhelm. Mm-hmm. Like traumatic experiences, mental health conditions, those things are things like you're saying, that's not necessarily our choice. But that's something we just kind of navigate through and time can kind of help us heal those wounds. A lack of coping skills. I could see that being my choice. Mm-hmm. A lack of, shall I say, appropriate coping skills.
Yeah.
If I haven't taken the time to work on those things, then that's a choice that I've made, to turn to social media or doom scrolling or food or alcohol, whatever it is. We've talked about perfectionism and high expectations for all my high S's out there. Anything that creates a big life change, a new job, a new home, a new baby, a divorce, things like that, those are big life changes. And so if you're someone who craves stability, just the idea of packing up a home and moving to a new home can feel completely and totally out of control and overwhelming.
Yeah.
But once again, Rob's favorite word, like breaking that down into chunks into bite-sized pieces helps to make that feel a little bit more manageable.
Yeah.
Financial problems, relationship problems, taking on too many roles, all things that I have a choice in. I decide how I spend my money.
Yeah.
I decide how I put myself into my relationships. So if I'm not holding up my end of the bargain on those things, then all of those things can contribute to me feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Like finances, that's a big one.
Oh yeah.
I think if it's really hard, if you're worried about whether you can pay your mortgage or your rent, and like that probably is living in your head all the time.
Yeah.
And so it makes it really difficult because then things just continue to pile on to one another.
That was another thing that they talked about with coping mechanisms for dealing with overwhelm or stress, anxiety is, the drinking, smoking. They talked about shopping. Like you just go, like there's always something that gives you that dopamine high. Like that Amazon box is sitting on your doorstep.
Yep.
I came home yesterday from work and it was Burrito Monday, not Taco Tuesday. Y'all got it wrong. Burrito Monday is the best way to start the week. And I walk in and there's a box and a bag sitting on the coffee table. I said, heck yeah, boy, what I got in there. It had my name on it. I said, let's go. I didn't even know what I ordered. I said, let's go. I was so excited. There was some paperwork and I opened it up. It's from the VA. I'm like, oh, shoot. It was my medicine and 2 pill cutters they gave me. But I was excited it was there. I get like the high, like I ordered something and it's here, or you order something and you're anticipating it. The people who live across the street from me, sweet people. But I see an Amazon box on that doorstep about every day. Like I'll come home, there's one or multiple sitting out there. And I think his wife, she does like medical field. I think she's a nurse. The husband's a mechanic. Great people, but I don't know who ordering, but somebody's getting a high every day, And so that like, it makes us feel good. And it helps maybe buffer that and helps put it to the side for a little bit, just like any other coping mechanism. But if that bleeds into and creates a financial circumstance, or your spouse is like, hey, like it ain't breaking the bank, but you got to chill out. Then you have frustration that adds to it. So something that I came across is it says, find what your supports are. So what are the things that don't create stressors that help create stability for you? And don't seclude those or move to the side. So one thing it talked about was like things that we can do that hurt things is like you come home and give your kids a hug. Well, if you're overwhelmed and stressed, you can come home and be like, hey, what's going on? Hey, good to see you. Oh. And then you just move on because you're overwhelmed and you're thinking about these things. Those things create good feelings and can help out. Don't just rush through those things. If there's things that you've enjoyed, you go to the gym and it's like, this is my anti-stressor. Like this helps me. Well, it's great that you're there, but like get a good workout in. Like it makes you feel so much better. I do not know how many times we have come across all these different scenarios in these podcasts, and the things that keep coming up, and I said it last time, is journal and write things down and move your freaking body. Yep. Like go outside and move.
Get sleep.
Yeah. Get some good sleep. Like we just wrapped this whole thing up. We done. I'm going to just start with it. We'd have a 5-minute podcast. But it's amazing going back to the movement piece. There's a lot, like Mel Robbins, she said, just go outside and move, like just for a walk. But if you're going to the gym, literally cortisol flushes out. Like you're getting rid of that stuff. You're putting feel good chemicals in your body, dopamine and all that stuff. If you're a runner, go for a run. Like runner's high is legitimate. I was just talking to somebody the other day, like Rob, I hate running. His name's Chris. He's a public speaker, does a great job. He says, he's like, I hate running. He goes, y'all runners are crazy. I said, I ain't no runner. He says, I never get a runner's high ever. And he says, when people just tell me to run farther, he's like, I want to slap the taste out of their mouth. And I'm like, I get it. I kind of get it a little bit, but I don't like going into that territory where I get it. Cause it's like 4+ miles. But man, if you just go move your body, it helps make you feel better. I promise. The last thing you want to do is lay on the couch all day long when you're overwhelmed. You're like, doing things makes me stressed, so I'm just going to lay here. You will be more stressed, and all those things that you need to get done will still be there at the end of the day. But if you just pick 3, those irons in the fire, these are the 3 things I need to do. Heck, if 3's too much, just do 1. Just pick one thing and be like, I'd knock this off the list today, which is good.
It is funny that a lot of times, because as you're saying this, I think I'm recognizing about myself is when we are feeling really overwhelmed, the first things that we drop off of our to-do list are those exact things you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like things that bring me joy and less stress, having time with my kids, having time with Michael, going on a walk, taking the time to read. So when I'm feeling like I have a lot of tasks piling up, those are the things. It's like I zone out. You know, I'm only focused on getting this done. I can't hug you. I can't talk to you. I can't sit down for dinner tonight. I can't go on a walk tonight. I won't have time to read my book tonight. Nothing. When those are the exact things that I should do that would keep me motivated and going to focus on those tasks. But it's like it's like a paradox. The exact things I need to keep me going are the exact things that I disregard when I'm feeling overwhelmed with tasks.
Right.
So I think that is same thing with sleep. Oh, I've got so many things to do. I'm going to stay up till midnight tonight or 1 or 2 or whatever. No, I can't. That only sets me up for failure the next day to be able to get anything done.
Yeah.
So I do think it's interesting that when we feel that way, we start to kind of negate the things that actually would help us navigate it a little bit better.
Yeah. There's always something that you can do to move in a positive direction. Just take a notch out of that belt or whatever. Like, I just need to do something that's going to bring me some joy. Because if you cut out joy and the things that bring you peace and you're only dealing with the stress, it's like there's nothing, not even an ounce to counterbalance that. There's nothing that you're moving forward in a positive direction, which will just add. So I almost think about it like it's a scale. If all the overwhelm is on this side and it's bottomed out, if I don't even choose to put anything on this other side, I will never have the chance of even trying to balance that. So it's little by little. If I just take things from this and I accomplish it, I move it over to the positive. I also need to do the things that are positive for me. Work out, go for a walk, make my bed. Those weights will be there. And every time you accomplish one, you move it to the other side of the scale. Eventually it gets tip and balance, and eventually it'll be the opposite. But you can't move forward unless you move forward. And just like Atomic Habits, old James Clear, we've talked about him before, but every degree makes a difference. You might not always notice the change, but you do enough change over time, and like he talks about the ice cube, it eventually will melt. It eventually will boil, but you have to make those positive changes to do them daily. Otherwise you will fall off.
Yeah. A thing I wrote down here, which kind of makes me think about how we handle it and I feel like I'm aware enough now to know when I'm starting to feel overwhelmed, because I will know the one thing I need to do right now is get out a piece of paper and make a list. But I found some things like signs and symptoms of being overwhelmed. And so we've kind of talked about some of these, like withdrawal. So kind of like lay on the couch all day long, not do anything, not interact with other people, being more pessimistic. Like, I don't have enough time. I still have so much to do. Like, that's the pessimism kind of talking. Mood changes, cognitive fatigue. Like, gosh, why can't I think? I think that goes back to when we have too many things running in the background. Obviously, there can be physical symptoms, disproportionate reactions. So, like, you lose your keys and you, like, fly off the handle.
Blow up.
Yeah. So I think sometimes when we're like, we're up to here, we're full, we are completely filled up. And then something happens, like you lose your keys and there's just like an explosion. I think then that's a sign to us that we need something got to give, because something so simple is causing us to react in such a way. Paralysis. We've already talked about that. I like your example of circling the runway, because that is like a form of paralysis. I can't make any steps forward. And then irrational thoughts, like this is kind of like our self-talk, like, I'll never be able to do this. I'll never be able to find someone. I'm never doing everything I need to do for my, like, never and always types of
the absolutes.
So I think if you find yourself doing any of those things, that's probably an indication that you need to kind of reassess what's going on as far as your to-do list and what you've got going on in your head, because it's kind of showing in some outward way.
Yeah. So I think even we've talked about awareness catching these things when they happen, and recognizing our irritations or that I might be going a little bit over the top. Those are huge clues for us that maybe I'm overwhelmed here. I do know, I'll say this because I think we've all been in this, and then we'll maybe bring this thing in for a landing. But I know the kids, my kids, there's certain stuff that maybe this isn't stress or overwhelm, but it's definitely like if I can tolerate it or not, it tells me where I'm at.
Oh yeah.
And so the kids will do things. Jack is so much like me. It's sick. Sometimes I'm just like, Lord, I do this. And then when he does it, I'm like, stop it. And it's funny. He'll say a word, and then he just thinks it's hilarious. And he'll just keep saying it over and over again. So there's a basketball player that he likes watching. I don't even know his name. Don't care. But
LeBron James.
No, not him.
That's what Leah does that non-stop.
LeBron James. She just says it like that. Say it again.
LeBron James. That's how she says it, and that's how I know to say it like that.
Yeah.
Because she'll shoot something in her.
Yep.
Her dirty clothes into the hamper, trash into the trash can. Doesn't matter. If anything is leaving her hand, like
LeBron James.
Every time.
Yep. Jack says 3. He does this all the time. I'm like, stop. He does it nonstop, or he'll say Jokic.
What
It's
is that?
Jokic. This I don't freaking know. Jokic. He'll shoot me Jokic, or he says yoke. The other day, I'm laying in bed. I'm trying to go to sleep because I go to bed early, and I'm laying there. I've got my headphones in. I'm listening to something mindless. I just got my eyes closed. He's in the shower, and I can hear Susie telling the kids. They're both. Jack's in the shower. Charlie's combing her hair, and so I hear him. Shh, be quiet, be quiet. And they'll talk, and I can hear them. It's in our bedroom, so it's like I can hear it all. I'm just trying to lay there, sleep. And then as soon as she opens the door to come out, Jack goes, yoke, like as loud as he possibly can. Oh man, I was about to lose my mind. But it's like that stuff happens throughout the day, and I catch myself, he might only do it twice as opposed to 10. My normal limit is 10. But when it's 2, I'm like, all right, I can tell something's going on. And sometimes I don't even notice it. And I think that goes back to the awareness piece that all the things that we talk about on this podcast, if you can pick up on it first that it's happening, you can catch yourself. And instead of me blasting Jack, I'm like, brother, can we pick a different word maybe? Instead of being like, cut it out, stop it, So for everybody out there, when it comes to being overwhelmed, it's like, what are the things that I need to watch out for? We need to continue to move in a positive direction. We need to put stuff on that positive side of the scale, and I got to do it daily if I have any chance at tipping the scales and the balance on that. I really like your the overwhelm loop that you talked about today, recognizing that you can put yourself in a cyclical loop and it just stays there and it never goes away. Ignoring problems will never be the answer. I don't want to just lay on the couch or just be paralyzed or circle the runway. Like, we got to move forward. Go through your lists or create a list and then go through and prioritize. If it's irons in the fire, or maybe it's prioritizing something that's time sensitive, or maybe it's knocking out a couple 5-minute activities. It's like, I can do this right now. Just don't keep clicking into it and looking at it. You got to do something about it. And then you talked about something else you talked about was naming it, the emotions that you're feeling there that can help move you in a good direction. But being overwhelmed doesn't mean that you're bad or that you're failing or anything like that. It's very natural, no different than our last podcast about being angry. It's a natural emotion that we can feel, but with the right tools, you can manage it and move forward. But without the tools, you just stay in the same spot. But it's something that you can change.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say it is normal. I would say give yourself some grace. We all are overwhelmed at some juncture, whether you're in the 52% that are feeling it every single week or it's not as frequent. I think we talked about being good enough. Some things just have to be good enough.
Yep.
And that's okay. And so I think also like recognizing you can only control what you can control. And all I can do right now is the one thing in front of me.
Yeah.
This long old list that I have waiting for me back at my desk, I can only do one thing on that list at a time.
Yep.
That's all there is to it. And so I think getting yourself to a place where you're like, I'm going to do all that I can. I'm going to do one thing at a time, and I'm going to give myself some grace. And some things are going to have to be good enough.
Yeah.
So, and I think that comes with practicing your self-talk for yourself. And like I said, just knowing that it's normal, and it'll all get done, or it won't. And guess what? Life will likely go on.
Yeah.
And so I think hopefully, I say that sitting here now, like I believe that all the time. But it's taken me a really long time to even get to that place to be able to say that good enough is good enough.
Yeah.
So I think that it just give yourself permission to feel that way.
Yeah.
And to execute things that way.
It's normal.
Yep.
You know who else I'm going to give permission to? Our plumbers, the future of America out here. I appreciate you guys. Y'all are amazing. Rachel's doing a phenomenal job out there. I always think it's funny. We come in here and we shoot the pod, and it is like a live lab out there. So if you don't know anything about Morris-Jenkins, we build plumbers and HVAC techs here. And
they being built right now.
They're doing it right now.
They being built.
So if you hear any noises, it's the future of America. Protecting the health of America. It's our plumbers out there doing their thing. So we appreciate y'all.
That's exactly right. All right, guys. Well, don't forget to follow us on Spotify and Apple and subscribe on YouTube. We will see you again in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for listening. Peace, love, and easy does it.
Hey, appreciate y'all.